else, I'm good at being hungry. So, I got no snackaroos left, man. Bag of cheese in there somewhere. Set it again. What's up, Thor? I haven't seen you in a long time, dude. You still kicking butt over there? I don't get a lot of guys on my lives. I've only done like 2 or 3. That's fine. I got 2 now. I tried to do this football night. Good. I'm using these earbud things. Good. I'm glad everybody can hear me. How's the rates out there on your side of things there, Mr. Thor? Because I'm looking at coming sooner than later now. I just got to get tags and head out and lease on to somebody, or I can get them numbers like I was planning on doing eventually anyway. I'm leaving too much money on the table right now. So, I got a couple of numbers for a Schneider IC I thought were pretty interesting. Rates are good, man. Get it while it's cooking. You've got a good plan. Okay, so I haven't decided if I'm going to go ahead and get my numbers or not yet. I'm more... Okay, I want to be smart about it. I know guys that have not done anything in trucking ever, and they went right out, got their numbers, and yeah, they learned on the fly. And the turnaround time for some guys who went and leased on to somebody else and went and did the authority thing, the timeline is roughly the same. And I know a lot of things are to chance, but have an understanding of the industry as you do. I don't really think one's necessarily better than the other. It's just how much risk you're willing to take, I guess. I got a lot of personal stuff going on with my father-in-law right now, so I'm trying to stay close to the house. But Chloe is finishing his last load to Connecticut. Where are you headed, Chloe? We were talking about that before. You were talking about headed somewhere. Unless you're just going home, but I figured you're just going somewhere else. Yeah, not bad, my man. So listen, I got a couple numbers here I'll throw at you guys. Stop and shop in Manchester, he said. Last load to Connecticut. So, as of tonight, the loads that I have completed and turned in, I did $7,435.61 in revenue gross. After my fuel and my insurance deduction, took 8 loads to hit. To hit that 7,000 for 3,311 miles at $221 a mile. There you go, my man. So my numbers were 7435.61 was what my revenue, gross revenue was, and then I did 5977.59 to the house. So 5977.59 to the house net. And then, of course, I don't have a truck payment. There's a lot more paperwork involved with your own numbers as opposed to leasing on somewhere. That's true, Thor. And if you're making good enough money and you're meeting your ends, man, there's no problem with that. I understand that model completely as well. So with the 5977.59, that was my net, and the 7435.61 was the gross number. I only drove 2,533.7 miles, and that's on the dash reset at Monday midnight, so Tuesday. My rate per mile averaged off of the dash was $291 a mile, averaged out for the entire 2,533.7 miles. I spent $1,319.23 on fuel this week. I didn't burn all of that, but that's how much I purchased off of the settlements. And then it cost me for those miles, based on what I've spent, 58 cents per mile is what the truck ate out of all of that money. So out of the gross, the truck ate 58 cents per mile. This is the best part. I worked 53 hours to make that money. That That's $112 an hour. Wage slaves out there, if anybody goes back and watches this later, listen to that. That's $112 an hour. Now, a lot of people will say, well, you spend the entire week in the truck or whatever, the 2 weeks, however long you stay out, you spend that long in the truck. Well, I'm looking at it right here. I left the house at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, and it is now just after, was almost 8:30 on Monday night. That's 130 hours roughly that I've been gone. And in 130 hours, with the amount of net, not the gross, these are off the net numbers of what I'm going to get deposited, every hour I've been gone from the house. When you break it down to somebody who only knows wages, I mean, like, how do you beat that, right? That's like master electrician money. 130 hours at $45.98 an hour. Who needs overtime? I do. So, needless to say, yeah, those numbers are great. I'll repeat again later if guys keep coming in to watch, but yeah. That's right. Hey, I got a folding bike in here for that, where I'm going to start doing some more of that. I'm going to jerk that seat over there out. I don't use it anyway. Oh, and by the way, I don't know what fridge brand is best. My truck's older, and I'm not going to go and install one of those $600 fridges in here. So I guess about every 6 months, I'm going to have to put a new one in here. This is my 4th refrigerator, and I've got different brands. I've used Gallans, Hisense. This is a Magic Chef. I can't keep a fridge in here to save my life. I don't know what's up with that. Makes me mad. But I'm going back home. Unless I can find a load to sit on, I'm going back home tomorrow from Stewart's Draft. And to hang out with my wife for a few days, because she's stretched thin. We got in a little spat earlier about that, because it's probably the classic man and woman thing. I want her to just tell me if she needs me to come home. She's just like, I shouldn't need to tell you, you should know. And I'm like, that's not correct. I go to work with the evil shits. I go to work, okay, I'm reading what Thor said there about the fridges. Yeah, I got foam blocks. You know, you ever get in the trailer after they had a 2x4 and the plastic things on the sides that they stick on there? There's foam blocks in that, that I guess to kind of fill in the space or to keep the board in there, or whatever the case may be. And I save those things because there's always a use for something. I'm a MacGyver with dumb shit. And I put those around the compressor that rattles. The compressor's running, and you can hear it building pressure and pushing it. I think it's coils in there somewhere, or it's a fan, a circulatory type thing. But I had a Hisense, and it wasn't a bad pitch until it quit working. But that little spat with my wife was just, and I ain't gonna say she's wrong, because we all in here know that they're not wrong. But I'm pretty simple. If you want me to come home and tell me, she said I should know, because of, you know, what's going on and the stress and whatever, and, you know, her dad being in the hospital and everything else. And I just left Wednesday. And, you know, I mean, the reality is I don't have the bills I used to have, but I'm trying to build up again and go somewhere else where there's a lot more unknowns for me and the business. And so I'm sitting here thinking, well, maybe I should stay out till next weekend, go home on like a Thursday, and then I can hang out with the kids. Let me open that up so I don't look like a droid. No, that looks even worse, no. It don't matter what I do, I look like shit. That's too bright, probably. But, yeah, so anyway, I guess I'm going home unless I can find a load to sit on. You gotta learn, you gotta pick your battles, and I love her to death, so what you gonna do, right? Trucking is hard on the family. It always has been. Anybody tells you it ain't is a liar, and I don't team with anybody. I mean, I would, I guess, if it was the right person, but that would be on a very limited time frame. It wouldn't be anything permanent. And they've got to be able to run like I run. So, and I'd be going home more often, and this fridge would be coming out of us teaming. We're going to eat. We're going to have to stop and eat. So anyway, I got a lot more people in here now. Hope everybody's doing well if you're out here with Schneider already, or if you're somewhere else and wish you would come to Schneider, or if you're sitting at home and tired of wage slaving. Trucking Life said 57,000 miles my fridge still works, but you've got a longer wheelbase, so my truck. Hold on, see what he said here. All messages are visible. So my truck doesn't bounce as much as a regular freight checker. Yeah, mine bounces a little bit, but it's not bad as it was. I got the dog bones changed on my truck too. That's a big deal with a lot of that walking and bouncing around. Staying ahead of the storm. This Trucking Life. Nobody's staying ahead of the storm. Looks like the whole country's getting ready to catch an elbow from the top rope. Right now I'm in Pennsylvania in Fryestown. Yeah, I don't know nothing about no air ride trailer. I think Schneider's allergic to them. That's all right for now. But yeah, as far as the storm, I'm in Pennsylvania in Fryestown, looking at the most expensive fuel on the East Coast, I believe, $4.51 a gallon at this Flying J. And I hate Flying J's and pilots. And I wish I didn't have to say that, because there's some good people at some of them that work, but $4.51 a gallon, that ain't no lie. Here, well, can I flip my camera? And if I do flip my camera, can I zoom? I don't think you can do that. Let me see. Look at that. Yeah, stock radio, guys, with the little Bluetooth thing. That's right. Yeah, it's. Oh, it will let me zoom. Let me turn my light off, see if that helps. And clean my camera. Don't go nowhere. Let's see if I can get that zoomed in there. Yeah, it's not going to let me. It's a YouTube thing. It ain't a me thing. My phone's pretty cool. All right, we're going back to the regular old thing here. I tried to zoom in. But yeah, I'm going to probably going to go home after I deliver tomorrow unless I find something. I'm going to keep looking to see what we've got available if I can sit on something for a few days at the house. But with that storm coming, I don't want to be in the Northeast anymore. I mean, obviously you want to be gone from that, but I just can't believe what a week I've been able to have as an IC with the rates right now. Chloe, like you said, you worked your butt off, but you had a great week. I mean, a 7K week. Would they have ever told you that when you started, when you talked to SFI or Schneider? Thor probably went through the same thing. They probably even told him lower numbers whenever he did Schneider. Well, she'd been gone a minute, but you know, I mean, they told me $1,200 or $1,500. Over $1,500 a week. What you expect to bring home? Volkswagen. Oh, is it? It's the Volkswagen hookup on the back. Just snap in, so I ain't got to do no hard wiring. Is that what you're telling me, Thor? That's what I thought I read. Let me see. I'm telling you guys, I love talking to y'all. Just tap the screen every once in a while. Yep. With a lease truck. Yep. That's it. I'll text it to you later. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Thor. Yeah, I got to get a radio. It's about time. I deserve something. Oh, I did buy something, guys. Got me a 25-pounder that I sit here and work out with a little bit. I'm not much for the cardio. Cardio sucks. So I take fish oil, I eat cheese and meat, and I use this guy. And worst case scenario, you could beat someone to death with it. Yep. Nope, Midwest is Trucking Life. So I don't know if he was in here, but I'm going to say these numbers several times for anybody new that comes in or out. And I'm not going to stay on for hours again, but so I left the house Wednesday, and it is now Monday. I'm done, so you might as well just call the week over, okay? I'm not doing anything else to generate any kind of money. $7,435.61. And I didn't leave the house till Wednesday at 10 a.m. $5,977.59 is what's coming to the house after my deductions from my settlements, which pretty much is just my insurance costs, my permits and plates, and the fuel that came out for the week to run that amount. My fuel came to a grand total of $1,319.23 for out of that money, out of that $74.35.61. So that brings it down, and then of course I got $130 some in other expenses. So it's $59.77.59 to my business bank account. I drove 2,533.7 miles to do that. That's an average of $2.91 a mile for all miles on the odometer. This is off the odoms. And the GPS up there is 2 miles longer. So anyway, starting on a Wednesday, he said that'll be a situation after his receipt. Yeah, and if you own your truck, that's a big one. Owning the truck is just, I think it's a weird mind over matter thing, because you know you're going to save $4,000, $5,000 a month depending on your truck payment, right? And obviously you get your MMA that you don't spend back, and that's money you were going to have to spend anyway. They just want to make sure that there's that extra layer of you not failing to do it. But anyway, it's almost like you come out of the gate, you're not as upside down. But yeah, right here, let's see. That's $291 a mile for all miles at only 2,533.7 miles, which brings me home $59.77.59. Now this is what was interesting for guys that haven't heard it yet. Yes, I'm on the Airboard Trucking Life, and here's the funny thing about that is the Airboard, from what I remember about IC, because I was on IC for months, and then I refused to go to Air until I guinea pigged everybody else. I didn't know anybody that was on the Airboard. I had to talk to guys at a couple of OCs, and I avoid OCs like the plague. Because I'll talk to you guys, my truck, I am gone, okay? I avoid that place like it's got the HIV. I ain't got a problem with it. It's just my business, it's not their business, so I just stay the hell out of there. My truck ate 58 cents per mile out of that. That's to be expected with all my other costs. This is what's interesting. How many hours did I work to make that money? And I'm doing this for guys who just are watching, and maybe they're an hourly person, or maybe they're over the road, that get a cents per mile type pay. Mr. Britt, I got your message. I was gonna email you back, but I'd already had this set up. I'll email you a picture of mine. You beat me, not by awful much, but I gotta say we gotta be in the top. I'm sure you said you were number 1 on tank for the year. I gotta be in the top. There's a lot more guys on van side, but I gotta be in the top 100. Thor, my truck is a junker. I have a cruise on and off, a cancel, an accelerate and resume, and a decelerate and a set. And then I have up and down on the menu, marker interrupter, and engine brake button. That's all I have on my steering wheel. And you can't really tell which one's which anymore because I hold them so much, it's rubbed off. So, like I was telling these guys, I worked 53 hours to make that money. That's going off of my combined line 4 and line 3, the 70 recap, going back and looking at those days. That comes out to at 53 hours to make that much money. And this is on the net. This isn't off of the gross. This is off of that net of $59.77.59. That's $112 an hour for all the time I worked. It's dropping and hooking. That's dealing with shippers and receivers while I was on line 4, which all of us know you keep that at a minimum. And then all the time holding the wheel. And then for the people that are like, well, but you live in the truck. Well, to an extent, this is true. So let's just entertain that for a second. I left the house again. I left the house Wednesday at 10 a.m. It is now Monday. We're going to call it Monday midnight because I'm effectively done. My week is done. I'm done making money. I've got my ODOM numbers, my gallons burn numbers. I got all that stuff. So that's 130 hours roughly since I left the house. 130 hours. That averages out to $45.98 an hour. That is $45.98 an hour for driving, for dropping and hooking, interfacing with guard shacks, and talking to whoever. That's for shitting and pissing. That's for eating and cooking hamburgers in the Ninja. That's for cleaning the truck up. That's anything else I would have had to have done. That's what I made for every hour I've been on the road since I've been gone. Now, that's going to decrease until tomorrow, but I have another load that picks up right here in Fryestown, but they're saying Myerstown. I pick it up at Fryestown, PA, and then I'm going back down to Sturtstraff, Virginia, and then I might just lollygag over to the house. I haven't decided if I'm going to do that yet or leave, but I know the weather's going to start hitting around where I live and around the area I'm currently in Thursday late, and then coming into Friday mornings when it's supposed to be at its worst near me. And I have no interest in still being in PA, at least in the eastern half when that happens. And it's not even the weather bothers me so much as it is the missiles that you end up on the highway with. So think about that, guys. That's how good rates are right now. That's not just me being the man, because you got another man in here, Britt. He just said, let me go back here and look, because I haven't been looking. I was going through those numbers, chitty-chatting for a minute. Let's see what we got here. So Britt says he just came back out yesterday, and he's staying out until March. Not a bad plan. That man he's a long haul, not just on a run, but he's on a long haul. Trucking Life says that's executive pay. Yeah, I mean, for a small business, absolutely. And D.O. says I maximized my week as usual. There's no reason to not. That's right, D.O. I'm pretty sure Britt's the same way. There's a lot of guys that do this. They run. Like, when I'm out here, I'm balls out. I want to chill out. I go home. Don't get me wrong. Some guys want to run on recap. I talked to some of them. That's what they want to do is run recap, and there's nothing wrong with that. I like running hard for several days and looking at numbers like that. Here's the best part about running like that. I had 28 hours left, and because of the rates and the way the loads fell, I took a 34. Not because I needed a 34 or I want to take as much time off. The loads I picked, I made just as much as I could have if I'd have just kept running at the time based on where I was at and what the board was showing me. I planned 5 loads ahead. I never do that. I plan 1 to 2 ahead, and usually they come in spurts. I'll plan 2 or 3 loads total, an active and then 2 pre-plans. Then I'll do the whole thing over. They told me when I started, if you don't plan ahead, you're not going to make any money. Well, I actually seem to lose money by planning ahead because great loads pop up quick on this airport. I know there's a lot of broker freight, and sometimes that can cost you to go ahead and book a load. But if it meets my goal for the week and I get X amount, I cover my bills. My bills are covered because I next to have no bills now, except for taxes and then whatever write-offs I got to do for the week, working on the truck, getting plates, that kind of thing. Anything that you can write off, great. But I don't have to worry about that anymore. So when I had that 28 hours where I did another 34, let's just say I was staying out and going home. I guess I just get the balls out again for 70 hours. That's just like an average week when I first came out. I remember when I first came out here to hit, $4,000 in revenue in a week was awesome. $4,000 in revenue in a week, I was like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know whether shit or go blind. But now, if I don't you kind of get spoiled. Number one, you got a good work ethic. If you're hitting 7K weeks, now I'm so used to that because of the way I run and the way rates have been, and I've been very fortunate with my truck not breaking down, and I'm meticulous about making sure it's a well-oiled machine, so to speak. Probably treat my body like crap, and that'll eventually catch up with me. But I am trying to keto, so I don't know if anybody can tell. You can't wash ugly away, but the fat's starting to leave, and when it leaves, it's nasty, boy. That's why I'm glad I got that Lugga Blue. And if you guys don't know about Lugga Blue, you need to find out. It's a game changer, and then it lies. Oh boy. All right. Anybody else talking in here? Let's talk to some people. He said he always recaps because he always books 4 to 5 loads ahead, so he's currently booked until February 10th. See, that's smart. And man, you can't argue with results. He sent me his results earlier in an email. You can't, I mean, I was at 255 and change, almost 256. This guy's sitting at, he's what, 23K short of 300K on an IC bulk tank. It's insane money. I mean, so there's two different styles of running right there, and you can see that they're neck and neck, is essentially. You're going to be hard pressed to beat the numbers he put up, and I'm pretty sure you'll be tested to keep up with me. But just running at Schneider, you got to learn how to crawl before you walk, and then that's where I'm ready to go. I want to go to my next step once I figure out where I'm going to go, and get my plates on, so I'm not worried about that. And I would definitely go the Schneider route again. As a matter of fact, I don't want to burn any bridges. If I decide it's time to go and I find the place, I'll leave in a manner of which if things go sour and they want me back, I'll come back. I've also heard that it's not a preferential treatment situation. We're all contractors, but certain situations, if you do well for them in or whatever, they'd be more apt to take you back. They don't have to take you back. You know, preference on what contractor they're going to use or whatever. I don't know how that works, but that's what I've heard. Whether there's any truth to that or not, I can't tell because I've never left yet. Rates should be higher considering inflation. It costs more to maintain a truck now, and it's only going to get more expensive. It is, and rates are more than combatant for that right now. I think that rates are really good, and yeah, it's more expensive right now, but I'm more worried about downtime on getting parts and parts availability. They're all sitting on ships off of the California coast. I'm surprised somebody hasn't showed up and started torpedoing ships yet, since the whole world seems like it's getting ready to head to war. Chris, how you doing, my man? Glad to see you in here. Hope everybody's doing well. Hey, Chris, man, numbers for you. 74, 35, 61 for the week. In 53 hours, that's gross revenue. Here, I can hold it up. Everybody can see it. I wrote all that crap down. Mountaineer Thermo King. That's where I live. They got to work on my stuff again. My S-Part quit working. I think I got a fuse bad. I checked the box in the side box over here. I checked all the fuses in there, and they look fine. So there's got to be another fuse in line. I think there's a little block somewhere in there. I got a cage that protects the heater, and it's just the control box turns on. It says the heater is enabled, and it's not firing up. It's not doing anything. So I'm pretty sure I got a fuse in line off. Something's off in that thing, and I don't want to go throw somebody $500 to climb in there and replace a fuse, but I also don't want to dig into something right now. I just want to stay warm. So what I've been doing is you wanted to drop in and show support. Britt, anybody that hasn't checked him out, follow the Medic Britt. If you're more interested in bulk tank or just running hard, it's just a good journey. Check his videos out. I subscribe to him too. He's a great earner at Schneider on the bulk side, and you can never get too much help. I mean, there's so many guys that YouTube. There's too many guys at YouTube in here anymore, but having somebody that's current, like he's currently doing this, you can go somebody that's got 6 months experience. Chris decided to go to TMC, Truckers Marine Corps, with the skateboards, chrome skateboards. They got pretty looking trucks at least, man. Get your 6 months out of the way and you're gold. But yeah, that's somebody I would listen to, especially if you want to do bulk. But if you just want to run a truck hard and plan ahead, follow Mr. Brett. He's going to get some sleep so he can start in the morning. I might go another half hour if I keep guys in here and rotate new guys in and out, so I can just keep repeating. Thor, if you're still in here, dude, I know you're tired of hearing the numbers and hearing me mumble. Sorry, it is what it is. The Money Crew. Yep, that's right. Mr. Britt is the Money Crew with me, and there's a few other ones. Got a friend of mine, Rolling with Tufford, or Rolling with Tuff is his name. Rolling, Rolling. He finished spelling the word. With Tuff, Tuff. He's not made many videos, but he does some drive lapses and stuff. I got that guy into this. We worked in the oil field together, and he's knocking down $6,000 weeks too. He's a northern Wisconsinite, so he talks like cheese up there, you know. And you guys need to watch my videos and blah 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 and whatever. Cheesehead, good dude, veteran. Uh, so that's somebody else, you know. If you're from up that way in some kind of tundra north, and you want to listen to somebody who doesn't sound like they got a banjo mouth. I know my accent kind of changes based on who I've been dealing with that day too. I don't know what it is. I've always been impressionable that way. I'll go to the freaking southeast and I'll come home and start talking like Boomhauer, and my wife's like, "What's wrong with you?" And then I'll go up to Michigan and see my daughter, and my friend Bama lives up there in Garden City. We'll go sit down and eat. And I'm like, "Hey guys." I don't say guys. I say, "What's up, guys?" So go figure. Got some other guys in here now. Let me see if anybody said anything else. When you shut down your bunk heater when it works, did you make sure to let it rest 5 minutes before starting up your truck? It's got to burn off the diesel from the tip of that igniter. It's not worked in 3 or 4 days, Thor. I'm pretty sure that it did, but as far as I know, I don't know of anything else that's wrong with it. Like I said, you don't hear, and I don't know if you could ever hear it, but you don't hear anything. You don't hear the igniter clicking. You don't hear, because you could usually hear from outside that clicking noise, that duh, duh, duh. You can hear that from outside whenever you first get her going. I'm not hearing anything. It's the blower's not even blowing cold air. The box turns on. It doesn't give you an error. The box turns on, says it's on, and it's not doing anything. So whatever the fault is, it's not tripping the computer or the control on it off that something's wrong. So I don't know what's causing it to do that, but I might decide to get cocky and get out whenever I get done talking to you guys and look through the box again. I've already taken the screws out. I've got my tools out. I've pulled every fuse in that box and checked them all and put them back in. I have had fuses in cars crack in a spot where you can't even tell that they're cracked, and just replaced it anyway. But these are those big fuses if you ever had your box open over there. Oh, and something else that I had a problem with my APU. If it's not clicking, the fuel pump isn't working. So if the fuel pump's not working, I don't know, could that be a fuse, or is the pump just seized up? Because the thing is I figure if it's something like that, that it would kind of let you know that there's, you know, I'm not getting a no flame detected, I'm not getting a prime no, or no prime no start, or any of those kind of, I'm not getting any kind of alarm at all. It thinks everything's going just fine. The box turns on. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't say it's shut off or whatever. You can leave it on all night and it'll just stay, you know, with the green light. It's like it's running and ain't nothing going on. The APU had a different problem. The APU, they worked on it for me, and what happened was the guys in Madison, Wisconsin, whenever I was on that dedicated, they were working on it, and they wanted to charge me like $1,900 for this, that, and the other, and I didn't have that much problems with it. I just needed a service, and I had an exhaust leak, and they were like, well, it's going to cost this much, whatever. I'm like, okay, well, what needs done? I obviously need the oil change, and I want to, you know, go ahead and change the belt and stuff on it, because I don't know how long it's been, and it looks a little dirty in there. Well, he told me the exhaust was okay, but it could wait. Well, I only went down the road for like another week after I got done on the dedicated, and it was starting to get really loud. So I was going to put it in the shop, and before I could even get it in the shop, the daggone exhaust fell in half in there. So, and it was at the flex pipe. I just had them replace everything from their back, and they did at Mountaineer Thermo King, and they had to clean out the air cleaner, because, or replaced it, because it was so dirty and gummed up, because it had been running with that thing, and I knew something like that was going to help happen. But right now, because my bunk heater ain't working, I'm idling the truck long enough to get it hot in here, and then I can go about 8 hours or so before it gets, I mean, I got a lot of fat reserves, so I'm not idling, you know, a half gallon an hour or whatever these things drink idling. But I'm definitely not happy about not having my bunk heater. I finally got my APU working to charge my batteries and stuff, so I don't have to worry about it, and now I can't stay warm. And as we all know, it's not the Arctic, but it is definitely winter. So how many new guys since the beginning of this are in here? Fuel pump isn't working, he said. My buddy rebuilt his for really cheap. They want a ton of fixing parts are cheap for the heater, I'm assuming. The Money Crew changed my mind on the Walmart. Okay, we already read all that. Hey Greg, awesome dude. I think I got everybody. up to speed here. So does anybody in here have any questions or anything about the week, about Schneider, about SFI, about going elsewhere, about any new video games or shows besides Yellowstone or 1883, which both are awesome, by the way, but you know, you want to talk politics? Oh God. You want to talk food? I'm a foodie, man. If you like ground beef, we're brothers. Cheese too. If it's a cow, you use every bit of it. If it's a pig, you use almost all of it. I don't do chitlins. And I don't even know which animal it comes from, honestly, because I think the word itself implies that it's just horrible no matter what. But they used to fight over the pig bladder back when the poor days, because that's what you play football with. New Gran Turismo looks great. Trucking Life. I want a PS5 to play these new games on, and I'm not even 40 yet, but I will never drive a Bugatti. I'll never drive a Lamborghini, even if I had the money. It's not practical, because the first time I hear road debris or a rock go tink, I'm murdering everybody. I mean, it's going to be a bomb. So it's pretty nice you could do a custom paint job on any of those things and fly around a track. Turn this shit off, man. I'm getting... Sorry, guys. I'm tired. Yeah, I'd like to get a PS5 or something, but I can't find it. I finally broke down and got me a 24-inch TV, just because when I'm done at the end of the day, instead of watching a YouTube video or something, I can stream it to that TV. And I got a mount. I'm gonna mount it right there in front of that side box. I thought about taking that side box completely out over there instead of having my fridge, because there's the front of my fridge, as you can see here. Let me turn this light. So I got totes on the top. So look, front of the fridge, which is out now, by the way. And if you don't have one of these, this is a magnetic power strip from Harbor Freight, which Harbor Freight is trash, but I got my little smell good Febreze thing on there, and it just magnets its ass right there so that it smells good while I'm driving. And it's out in the middle, so you know, you get a lot more good smell. But my TV lays on my bed while I'm not laying on it, and then when I'm laying on it, the TV goes right here so I can watch Beavis and Butthead or whatever. And then so I thought about taking that whole stack right there out and sticking my fridge against the wall. A setup that Freightliner should have done, and I don't know what the new ones are like, because I'm not buying a new truck. I think it's a disgusting proposition with costs the way they are right now. Now, that doesn't mean that'll always be the case whenever I have different options with my funds, but what they should have done is, I get that they want to set these up as fleet trucks so they can have a team or whatever. That bunk needs to disappear, and all of that back there needs to be cabinet space. And then the cabinet is a wraparound, just like cabinets in the corner kitchen. And then there's nothing here and here at the bottom. No desk, no nothing. So you got your fridge and all that junk over there, and then you got your luggable over here. So you got a shitter in the truck, and you're all set, man. You're all set. You can have a fold-down desk off the wall, whatever. You don't... Look at that. I got totes up there. It looks like my grandma's closet with a whole bunch of shoes and stuff. And I don't know where grandmas get them, but all of their shoes look like they're freaking ballerina shoes. And you know that old lady ain't doing no ballerina with them corns and all that. I don't know what that's about. But that's my idea, is ripping all that stuff out of this truck since I own it now. But I'm not going to destroy it. Your bike is up there, he said. Yeah, truck and bike. Hey, there's a thing about truckers with bikes, a website or something. I've seen that. So now that I'm losing a little bit of weight, biking is low impact and good for cardio. I have a fold-and-half bike. It's like a Euro bike, they call it. So I can fold it up and put it in the floorboard over here. Yeah, I'm sure it's Chinese junk, but the first one I had was fine until I exploded the gears because I put too much torque on it. You know, being a big boy and all. What's that? I have an arrow. Have you, Trucking Life, man, where are you finding to get a PlayStation 5? I've seen, like, websites and stuff. They're like trackers to see when they have a live, or when you have an update, you know, where somebody has PS5s in stock, because I guess they're trickling in. Can't find them. And I don't care that much about anything to do that much research anymore. I remember I was real excited whenever I transferred every light in this truck over to LED. That was my big thing. Oh, well. And I got my high dollar radio, which I love. So awesome. My GPS, I bought that with pilot points only. I got a pretty cool cell phone holder thing called Panavice, and the reason I got all this junk on here is so it don't rattle or move. It's locked down sturdy. You ain't gonna worry about that. Page on Facebook, Truckers for Bicycles. I'm gonna build a cabinet where my fridge and microwave go. I already cut that sucker up a little. Did you cut the bottom like out of this one? Because see, this is what I don't like about this situation. You can see the height difference right there. So I could cut off right here. Not gonna work. You know what I mean? I'm sure it might be you might be able to juice it up a little bit, or just take the top of this off. But look, I done crammed all of my meat and shit in the freezer because it's still somewhat cool in there. It's not cold, it's cool. And this, well, matter of fact, that feels like it's just as warm or whatever. That's just all my sauces and like a pop. The only thing in there that's going to go bad is probably going to be that heavy whipping cream, and I'll drink that like milk tonight because guess what? No carbs, baby. Yeah, look. There's that microwave, which I very rarely use. So that's my little setup as of right now. I still need to stick that thing on the front. And since I've got the bull bar on the front, can you see it? Well, you can see it at the corner there. Since I got the bull bar at the front, yeah. Whew. I'm starting with Schneider next week. Did the CDL training, and he's going to be running a dedicated account for a whole dealies in the Northeast at 70 cents a mile, or approximately 2,000 miles a week. What do you think? Well, we got to do math. It's not my strong suit. So, but yeah, man, just getting your experience out of the way. Or getting that experience is everything. Period. You know what I mean? So, bear with me 1 second, guys. I'm stupid. I'm tired. So that's 1,400, and yeah, that's not bad starting out, my man. If you're running now, if they tell you 2,000 miles and you run really hard, and you can get more miles than that, then you're great. I don't like being locked down to I'm only going to do this. Now, if that's just like a quote of an average, then I say that's a good spot to start. He said he cut the right side just above the bottom cabinet up to the top cabinet. Left side is still there, and I strapped the fridge in. I've already drawn up plans, just got busy and bought the house. If you don't figure your bunk heater out, Schneider shop will repair it at a decent price. Also, bunk heater parts are cheaper at Schneider, for your information. That's what I figured I'd do if I can get to an OC, because my dumb ass still ain't got my permits yet. But I can call in an event anything happens and get the one. The ones that are truck specific, I've got all that handled. I've got everything I need with that. So, but I don't really haul any alcohol loads, and I don't really haul many hazmat loads. Now, I don't mind hazmat. It doesn't bother me. A lot of guys don't know what the heck they're doing, even if they got their endorsement. I did a lot of it with Schlumberger in the oil fields. I used to go to Vernal, Utah, over the mountains, Green River, Wyoming, from Rock Springs, a lot with all kinds of fracking stuff, and there was all kinds of stuff. Did Schneider give you a referral? I reached out to you in April about your spreadsheet. At the time, I was a company driver. Started as an IC in July, and he loved it. And this was Richard Duncan. Richard, they don't tell me specifically. A couple times I got a message if somebody gave me put me in as a referral. They've sent me a message a couple of times. I don't remember if you were one of the ones. I can go back on this computer and I can't really. I'm not going to go back that far. I'll probably have a meltdown. But it doesn't really. I think once or twice they've told me somebody's name. My buddy Tufford, he came over here, and Schneider wasn't even doing a driver referral bonus, but SFI was. Now, I got the one from SFI. So as far as specific to you, I don't know, my friend. But if you did give them, regardless of whether they paid me or not, thank you. And I'm glad you're loving it. That's all I need to know. You said you are loving it. Hey, is this the first time you've ever leased a truck? Because if it is, and I'm not talking about leasing a truck, I mean starting your business. That's the terminology. If you've started your business, and it's the first time you've started a business, trucking business, it can be volatile, but the way I look at it is, in life you're paying bills. And you're making money. That's life. You eat food, you take a shit. You're just eating more food and taking bigger shits when you're running a business. You know, the responsibility's the same, in my opinion, because you as the driver, you're still responsible and you got to live with stuff. If something goes really wrong, and you know, as owner of the company, it's the same thing. I just think you're playing with bigger numbers. That's all it is. You know, bigger numbers buy bigger prizes. Bigger numbers cost more whenever you mess up with them too. If anybody else has said anything, got 9 people in here. I feel important. Average miles, and thank you for answering the question. Hope to see you on the road. Yes, sir. Hey, coming out of the gate doing that kind of money, if you pay attention and try to learn, you're going to do just fine, my man. And if your ultimate goal is to work for yourself and run your own business, try to be efficient and see how much of that $1,400 you can keep to you in your bank account to save as you're going. So you've got money to start your business on when you're ready, if that's what you want to do ultimately. And you can also, once you already know how to run efficient, you can do that kind of stuff. Like a big expense to me, and this was a big deal, I already showed people at the beginning, I haven't lifted weights in years now. I used to lift weights, but see, like, this, weights never go bad, but this daggone, just this right here was $40. And I could sit here and I could, you know, work on the tries and stuff. It's a 25-pounder at Walmart, you know, Walmart special. And I only bought one of them because I have to make sure I'm not overweight. So you kind of add weight a little bit at a time, right? And I'm doing the ketosis again too. And I'm actually in ketosis now. So whenever I'm done, I'm done. Like when I crash, I'm done. And when I'm hungry, I'm starving. But I'm getting to the point now, once I'm in ketosis, and I've done this before, and I lost 55 pounds in 3 months. And then it all went off the rails at Christmas. But basically, learn to control your fuel costs. Pretty much the biggest controllable expense. Amen to that. I do have, I have high rolling resistance, or low rolling resistance. I said high. Low rolling resistance tires. Those I got all Bridgestones 713s on the drives, which are not the most aggressive, but they're fine highway tires, and they got the snowpack rating. It's their light pack snow rating and stuff on them. And then I have the 213, their newest drive tire on the front. I got Centromatics on all 3 axles, and they're wearing great. One of the things that I'm debating and trying out is figuring out what pressures I like to run. On my old tires, they were Schneider spec right off the bat, you know, running roughly 190 or 100, 105. I run, at the end, before I got rid of those tires, and I think it increased the life I was able to keep them on the truck, I was running those tires at 90 pounds on the drives and 105 on the steers. I've heard of guys running their steers 100, 105 and running 85 on the drives. I don't know what is right, and sometimes I've even heard guys say that you need to learn what your truck likes or what you personally like in a feel. And as long as they're not wearing out too fast or wearing weird, like cupping or anything like that, then you don't, there's not really a wrong answer. Some guys say they don't like the way it looks when it squats, you know, when the tire bulges at the bottom, but that's just the footprint. And as you go, of course, it's just like a drag tire. It stretches out a bit, so you don't have that look. Now, I don't know how you can get into that. I'm not big into that. I just stress about purchases, period. If it's a tire, if it's some kind of big work that I'm doing to my truck, like one of my calculated costs was putting that bull bar on the front. I had a deer and I was out. Midwest Mike says he does 115 on his steers and 105 on the drives. Yeah, see, that was I got, now the tires here that I got put on the drives, the guy aired them up to the operating pressure that's printed on them is 110. To me, that seems a little stabby. You can feel it, you know, like it's almost like you're not digging in as much as you could, but the tires aren't, you're not rubbing off either. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that's been driving for a long time, you can feel what it's doing in the road. What state do I live in, D.O.? I live in the great state of West Virginia, not Virginia since 1863. 2 words in the name of my state, so don't forget that. How hard do you run on average, and do you stay out long? Midwest Mike, I'll tell you this right here. There's no real average for me. It just depends. Sometimes I've gone out and stayed for 3 weeks. Other times I go for 2. Between 12 and 16 days is roughly what I've been doing. Now, my father-in-law's in the hospital, my wife's dad, and thank you all for the continued prayers. He's still in the vent. The pressure's still up, but the oxygen's way down. Now we're discussing dialysis for him because he's already got kidney disease and all that stuff. So he has plenty of comorbidities. But so I'm probably going back home again. But just to, let me see, make sure I got everybody covered so I can answer. And a Richard Duncan, wait right there, and I will answer that question here in a minute. Learn to control your fuel costs. Thor's got a good one with that controlling your fuel, because these things, I mean, you're talking like I burned 400 this week, but that's also because I've been idling because my S bar is junk right now. Yeah, I mean, I've had weeks where I got a 10-speed 2016 DD15. It's not the most fuel efficient truck. I need to clean that Delta P out again. I don't know how much that's going to help. My 7th injector has been cleaned several times. I do that myself. So I'm not having any problems on the emissions side. But I mean, there's weeks that no matter what I do with headwind running 60 to 62 miles an hour, whatever, I can run my truck with a 40,000 pound load at 70 miles an hour with a tailwind. And it doesn't make much difference if I'm running into a headwind at 62 miles an hour and a 10,000 pound load. I'm always, and it varies greatly, between 6.2 miles a gallon and 7.4 miles a gallon. It just depends. I don't know what it is. I mean, it doesn't matter how hard I drive. It doesn't matter how slow I drive. The only thing that makes a difference is how much neutral knocking down hills I do. And I don't do that on hills I don't know. And a lot of guys, well, you should never do that, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. I ain't wrecked one yet doing it, and I don't do anything I don't understand. I'm not out there in Denver coming down the mountain, you know what I'm saying? Thinking about, okay, let me see here. Check the specs. Can only carry certain weight with certain PSI in the tires. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to come down from 110 in them because that's what the guy has them at, and I haven't changed it yet. They're wearing just fine. They're not even wearing yet. I mean, it had them long enough to wear them. So he's thinking of becoming an IC, so he's looking to see what most people run to see if he can get a realistic goal set for himself. Do not go off the numbers that I'm reading tonight as a reasonable expectation coming off out of the gate. What I do is I follow the money. I don't care to go to the Northeast. I don't care to go deep Texas. I don't care to go deep Florida, and I don't care to go West Coast Cali or out in New Mexico. Any of those places where it's junk. But don't plan yourself into a place where you cannot plan yourself out of that place before you even hit there. Otherwise, it's kaput. There's no reason to even do it, because whatever you made going there, you're eating coming out. I do pick, well, I used to. Fuel is kind of, other than like PA and probably Cali and Oregon and maybe a few other states dotted here in between here and there, I do kind of look for fuel. Central South Kentucky, Franklin, it was Franklin, Kentucky, and Rock Hill, South Carolina used to have the cheap there, and when Jones, was it Jonesville, South Carolina, those 3 places had the cheapest fuel on the eastern part of the country that I had seen for a while, at least with Schneider's discount. And that's just fueling with Schneider's card at Schneider, you know, on that account. That's not necessarily true anymore. That's why I use Mudflap a lot. And if you want Mudflap, email me at gregrollson@gmail.com if you're not already using it, and I will send you a referral. It's a little referral for me. It's not a lot, but it'll talk you through how to use it, and I'll do a video on that if enough people have interest in Mudflap if you're already doing this. And it just draws it right out of your bank account. You don't see the, you don't use your card. Use the app, and it draws the actual price that your discount is out of your bank account directly, but you get your the receipt for the IFTA stuff right there and all of that. So you got everything you need. But Mudflap made it easy to save some money, especially in Wisconsin. I was able to save a ton of money using my own debit card through Mudflap at Quick Trips in Wisconsin on that dedicated. And it was awesome. So I'll continue to shop for fuel. I shop a lot more for fuel now than I used to. And Thor always preached that from the day one is fuel, 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 and raw fuel price. Right now I'm looking at a couple of fuel cards. FTS, there's some other guys I started watching that have their own authority and, you know, fuel cards and stuff like that, like trying to explain it to people. And one of those guys was telling me about the FTS fuel card because they do what they call a cost per cost plus, which basically takes the discount based on the raw fuel price, because sometimes it can be 20 cents off a gallon on the pump price and up to 80 or 90 cents off pump price. Because so you can't find fuel cards that just say, you know, 80% off pump price. They're all just like 20, 25 points off the pump price. You know, that cost plus seems to be the way. I just don't know the lingo and how it works yet. But a realistic goal for yourself coming out, look at your personal finances, Midwest Mike. If you can make it off of $1,500 to $2,000, bring home a week, you're good. You just got to remember, as a 1099, you've got to pay your own taxes. I'm an S corporation. I've got a W-2 that comes out of my business every week for me and also for my wife. We're each on a W-2. And then any extra money that we take and spend is called a distribution. That's a whole different tax. That whole part of it is a whole different ballgame. But you as a 1099, if you've ever done contractor work before, anything you spend, save 30%. Now that's more than you're going to need with all the write-offs you're going to have in this business. But just do it anyway, because if that's the money you still got, then you can buy out your truck. That's the smart way to play that. But you're not going to come out here if you run hard and do less than 175, and that's down there. I did 255.9, so $256,000 in the calendar year of 2021. So that's where you go, Mike. Any tricks for the load board? Richard Duncan, what I do is, and I had somebody already tell me that I'm doing it wrong, but I move the sliders, man. Like tomorrow, I'm going to be done tomorrow around noon in Stewart's Draft. So what I'll do is I'll do confirmed and not confirmed both in the type of load selection. I drag my slider all the way out to 500 miles radius. That whole knocking the radius down, that doesn't make any sense to me, because you're looking at average rate per mile that's everything to me. Unless it's like a 20-mile load, then you start thinking about your time. Why would you want to, you know, if it pays $25 to go 1 mile and you got to drop and hook on both ends, that doesn't make sense to me. It's not worth my back. But you know, like, okay, there's a load that's going to Elmira, New York. Now I'm trying to go home because of what's going on, but it paid $3.81 a mile. Now I know there's not a lot coming out of that area, but I can come back down the road a while and still probably make $2.50, $2.60 a mile coming back down into Virginia. Or if you don't care to go to Jersey, where there's a lot of harbor cans floating around, you can find something that's going to Michigan and stuff out of there once in a while. Try to plan one more step ahead. So if you're like, hey, I see this load, I really like it, star that load and then go back and then change the town you're searching for. Let's say Elmira, New York. Okay, so if I book that load, I'm going to star this one. I'm not going to book it yet. Now I'm going to go to Elmira, New York. The day I'm going to deliver that, I'm going to also do 500 miles, and I'm going to look at what's going on around there for the average rate per mile, and I'm going to either continue, you know, more than likely you're going to go further north. I want to go back to Ohio, or I want to go back to my way to the Midwest. Start looking for a load that goes there. If the cheapest one's $1.06 a mile, add up the miles for both those loads on Google Maps. Use Google Maps or PC Miler if you got that kind of stuff, and then figure out how much both loads pay. That'll tell you your true average rate per mile between the two loads, and that gets you into New York and then back to the Midwest. And that's how much you made for all those miles. That's the way I do it, as I try to plan one move ahead. And I always move my slider for the distance out unless I'm going home. And then I'll put the slider, you know, within 100 miles, 150 miles of my house. And that helps me get to my house loaded as much as possible. So all I'm trying to do at that point is just eat fuel. I will pull a load that pays me 60 cents a mile to go home if that's all I can find to get me home. Unless I'm within a couple hundred miles, then I'll eat it. But if I absolutely have to go home and it's 350 miles away, I take the best paying one. But even if it's down to 60 cents a mile, I'll still pull it because I don't want to pay for the fuel. I'm a cheap ass. So that's my trick, is leave your radius wide open and then always go for average rate for mile, for total miles, not just loaded rate per mile. It's total miles average. Okay, that's my trick for load board. 105 PSI tire is usually rated at 5,980, and that's per tire. That's right. You can multiply that by 4 per axle. If you can't make money running at Schneider's and IC, you have no one to blame but yourself. There's plenty of money there. Get yourself a good mentor like Greg there to help a little and listen. Thank you, Mr. Thor. I appreciate that. And you were one of the ones that did the same thing for me, my friend. So Thor is another guy that's got a backlog of videos, okay? Good dude. You know, he doesn't just talk about trucking all the time either. That's something I like too. Talks about a bunch of stuff sometimes. Working on the truck at the house or whatever, or not just the truck. But the dude's got a good backlog of videos. He's one of the ones I started with. It was rolling with TB, who's not here anymore. I don't talk to him or anything like that. But, you know, his videos I thought were an interesting story because he failed at his leasing stuff. And I was like, okay, I always worst case scenario measure stuff first. And then Thor was a real dude, didn't do a lot of editing and stuff. Like I started doing just being goofy with like metal songs at the beginning and, you know, just cuts of driving. But Thor was one of those guys. And then because of him is where I found Big Rig CEO, and in Big Rig CEO I found so many other people and made a lot of friends. And then I decided to do this kind of stuff because Thor's moved on, CEO's moved on, TB moved on, and I'm still in the shit, as they say. And so if anything's changed, it's where I can contribute. Yeah. And this, of course, Thor said it himself again too. He would check the location he was going to go and see if there was freight coming out and where it was headed. That's why I always try to do one step ahead. One step ahead. I guess that would be OSA. That'd probably be a good way to put it if I was going to put some kind of stupid ass acronym on something. OSA. One step ahead. So let's just say you got a load and it's going to pay you $2.56 a mile. You're picking it up in Hebron, Kentucky, and you're going to Kalamazoo, Michigan, and it's going to pay you that much per mile. Okay, well, what's going on in Kalamazoo? That's your number one question at that point. That load is definitely worth picking up. You look at your delivery times. You don't want to spend 5 days on that load. Let me plug my phone in. I'm going to go dead here while I'm streaming live. It's worth pulling that load. Okay, well, what's coming out of Kalamazoo during that, you know, the day you're going to be available, and even the day after if you got to take hours, whatever. I always do a 24 to 36 hour window when I'm looking at the next load. Unless I know I got to do 34, then I leave it alone. So now what's coming out of Kalamazoo? Well, here's one that comes back to Cincinnati. You know, Cincinnati's a good market. Chicago, as much as I hate it, is a good market. Green Bay, but pretty much most of Wisconsin seems to, you know, all of that kind of stuff seems to be okay. You know, anywhere up there around the lakes, you're going to find something. So, you know, Michigan, the Great Lakes, most of the Midwest is going to be okay. You start getting into southern Illinois and southeastern Illinois and stuff, it might be a little questionable, especially on the weekends, because it's a lot of union work and stuff, and these places are going to close. But if you're planning ahead and you found some of these places, man, just staying in the Midwest. That's why some people call it Moneyball, like CEO. They stay in the Midwest. Where I live in West Virginia, I try to go southeast to Midwest and back to the southeast, back in Thor's neck of the woods, at least where he lives, down that way. And that's what I like. The only thing I don't like is West Virginia Turnpike costs me $11.40 every time I touch a money booth. And there's really no way to dodge one of those three. I know how to dodge the other two, but if you dodge that third one, boy, you're going to be in the ditch somewhere, because it's just not happening. So that's some of the things I have to think about. I run Toll Guru. That's something else that'll save you some money. It's not always the most accurate, but you can see if it's going to be worth it for you to just go ahead and pay those tolls versus getting off and going around at the average miles per gallon you're getting and what the fuel cost is. And the app is free. I don't think the computer version is free, but the one I have on my for it, I use it all the time. So Toll Guru, mud flat for fuel. Something else I'll impart to you guys before I start wrapping this thing up is I see some guys that do the GoPro, and I thought about doing that because one of my favorite things about driving a truck and running a trucking business is the actual driving side of it. I've tried to explain to my wife is I don't like being on, but I like going somewhere. And those are two very distinct, different things. I see a lot of guys driving and they're doing just fine, but I do some of my most, hold hold on a second. Greg, are you headed over to Light Trucking or who pulled Thorber's for? I'm not saying I'm not. I don't know Jeffrey Like. I've watched a couple of his videos. I know he's got a good bit of information, and he started off with Schneider as far as what I've heard with the backstory. I got nothing bad to say about the guy, but I just haven't researched a whole bunch of people because I'm just too busy in my own life. So Thor seems to be doing all right with him. So I can't say nothing bad. I haven't decided that. CEOs put me in touch with somebody I've talked to, but until I'm really ready, I'm not going to shop too hard because you can overthink things. In my opinion, you can overthink things and get a step ahead of where you should be. And then that here's my thing. I'm the kind of guy that's like, man, I got so much shit to do, I'm just going to take a nap. And that's not a good place to be, to me. But that's another thing, too, about that GoPro thing that I was telling you guys about. I do a lot of I take a lot of pride in driving. I'm not going to say I'm better than anybody else, but I shift a manual transmission like it's an automatic, and there's a lot of things I see a lot of guys do that drive me nuts while I'm driving. So I thought about doing videos while I'm talking instead of y'all looking at my face. I can drive and do videos like that. I've seen a couple of guys do it, but I'm pretty sure I'm much more entertaining with my road rage outbursts and hurling insults at my windshield and all of that. So I thought that might be something fun, and I can write it off because the more you guys that decide to do this that are successful, number one, I helped you, and number two, if I get even a single, if it's a part of what you can earn as an income, this is something else you got to learn. I get bonuses or referrals if you use me for a referral if you come to Schneider or SFI or both. You have to treat them as two individual entities for me to get both. But even if I don't get one, if I helped you, great. But however, if I get a red cent from doing that, I can get that GoPro and the headgear thing to wear and film while I'm driving and talking under the guise of being business, because technically speaking, it is business. Especially with the referral bonuses. I mean, that's not just a little bit of money. It more than offsets the cost of that. But it's a part of my income if I decide to do it. And I don't know, it just might, some pretty places you might not ever see. There's places Thor's seen that I'll never see, no matter how many years I drive. There's places that he'll never see that I've seen. There's just too many roads, too many people. That's why we got to share stories, right? Let me see what else. Okay, Thor was also saying that if you don't know what heads to your home to do a reverse search, instead of putting up the pickup location, put the delivery location and see where the freight comes from to get you there. That's right. To learn lanes to your house, or in the event that the lanes are dead that day, because lanes come and go as well. If you want to go home at any point, let's just say you want to go home within a week or whatever, you can pick loads. And don't book them, but you can see what loads are going to your house and where. So let's say I want to go home in 7 days. Well, you need to be around this area within those 7 days. So then you try to forward book from where you're at all the way to that town on the day that load picks up to go close to your house. The beautiful thing about where I live, and if you live somewhere middle America, in the Midwest or even in the Southeast, Alabama, Georgia, whatever, a lot of places, if the rates are worth it to you and it's not a high value or hazmat load or anything like that, I can go through the house with a load a lot. That benefits me tremendously, especially if I have a big, hold on a minute, this guy's got the light cannons. There's no reason for this. It's literally a straight back, and he's just, I don't know what angle that is, but I think it's on the negative angle side of things. Anyway, I think he's finally got it. But anyway, I spoke too soon. The point is I can go home, I can lock my load up. I got airline locks, I got kingpin locks if I decide to bobtail my driveway with the truck. APU keeps the battery charged and keeps the coolant, at a manageable temp and all that, because I do have a Thermo King. I don't have the idle free like my buddy Tough. He's got the extra batteries, and I don't have the Opta idle, which a lot of guys, it'll just start the truck and get the coolant warm and charge the batteries up and shut back off for the ambient temperature stuff. My stuff, unless I kick the standby switch on the front, if it's on off the control panel, it kicks up, it does everything I need it to do. I like the Thermo King. Now, it can be a headache if you have problems, but I've kept good maintenance on it. I just had an exhaust failure that I didn't know was as bad because I'd opened the thing, or I'd opened it up and looked, but I didn't take the shell off of it. So I'm to the point now where I'm doing so well that my time is worth more. If it's something small, I know I can get done in an hour or something, I'll do it. Like I need to clean my Delta P sensor again. I'm gonna see if that fixes up that the throttle response and the jumpiness with it a little bit. Thor, you might be able to speak to this. Does that Delta P, if you clean it out with a pipe cleaner, would that help your MPGs and any kind of acceleration stutter or anything? Because my fuel filters and everything looks good. And I know you're a wrench man, so I didn't know if you'd ever done that to yours, and if so, what kind of benefit there was to it, what you noticed that was different. My 7th injector is good. I've just brushed that off maybe once a month. I haven't had any problems or lights come on for a long time. I used to have intermittently climbing hills. I think I was setting a sensor off. The DEF flashing light beside the DEF gauge would come on and flash, and then I would have the mill light and the check engine light come on, and it would derate me 75%, and then I would just keep going for 30 miles. The first time that happened, they cleaned off the doser, and they did a forced regen at the TA, and they also fixed a small coolant leak. There's like a little coolant hose on the side of the motor, and it had sprung a leak, and I knew it was leaking, and I had coolant, but I was going to try to get to Schneider and have it fixed. It wasn't like a coolant hose failure. It was just a very slow spray leak. And I was actually on my way to get that fixed when this happened. They think at this point that it's just a sensor that's chasing a ghost, and it'd probably be more trouble than it's worth unless something worse happens. But there's nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong at all, and I paid $817. Now, oh Lord have mercy, I don't remember how much the hose was, but the labor was, and the cost of regen was most of it. But I don't remember, they charged me a couple $100 just to clean that doser valve off in the exhaust. That's stupid. So I learned, my lesson there, and I did that myself. I just wanted to see if there was any benefit to clean that off. Let's see. He said, I think it helped mine, but it may have been a placebo effect. Hey man, let's put it to this way. If it didn't hurt, it could have helped, right? So I got different people in here. Some guys have jetted. I'm going to say it again. There was a slight hesitation when I dumped the pedal in neutral, and it kind of went away after cleaning. I'm trying Pittsburgh Power Fuel Catalyst, and I'm still running numbers on it. Yeah, hey, if it's the same product, James was telling me he was doing it too, and he's going to get back to me later on with more information. And he said something to the effect of, you're supposed to be able to look at injectors and stuff, and it makes them look like they're brand new, like they've never been run, if it works like they advertise. So anybody, it's okay. So I got 11 guys in here, and I've got more likes than I did the first few times I did live. Nice experience with Schneider board to do a private Zoom for ICs like myself to show those tricks in real time. Yeah, I've never thought about doing that, Rich. And I don't want to get on the board on like a YouTube where it can be looked at later, because I think that's kind of against the contract, and I don't want to get myself in hot water over that. But as far as a Zoom call, I don't see why Schneider wouldn't let guys who are successful show you, or why they wouldn't. Pay me a couple grand, and I'll go in there for a day with 2 or 3 other guys, and I'll sit down and show people what I'm doing. But don't get guys that do exactly what I'm doing. Get 2 or 3 guys, because you might not run like I run. This guy might not run like you run. So on and so forth. Get 2 or 3 guys that have proven track record over a year or more of making money under the current load board situations, whether it be air or IC. I still keep hearing guys say that IC's still there. I was told that eventually, when the new contract year happened and you signed your new contract for 2022, that everybody was headed to the air board, because the air board is, okay, this is just my experience, the air board is exactly the same as choice, except for you have more multiples of the same loads and a little more broker freight that you can't see on IC choice. And I don't know why that is. A lot of people didn't like it at first, neither did I, because of the transparency with your fuel surcharge. Now, there's 2 ways of looking at this. Number one, you don't know if you're getting cheated or not. The other way, and always be skeptical. It's business. Schneider's not your buddy that's going to buy you a cheeseburger for lunch. Okay, always be skeptical and keep your eyes open. I don't care. That's a good principle in life, whether it's marriage, anything. You got to take care of old number one, or you can't take care of nobody else, right? But the way I decided about going ahead and switching to air before the new contract or anything like that, before I was forced to do anything, was the opportunity to make more money to me regardless of what the discounts or surcharges were. Before I owned my truck, my number one goal, because I was out for a week or two, sometimes 3 on end, was to buy my truck and make as much money as possible during the time I was out. More options was that answer for me. I took that risk. If it wouldn't have worked out, I could have made a lateral move over to Landstar somewhere where I figured I wasn't getting screwed if I thought I was getting screwed here. But that's what I did. I went ahead and I went to the air board. And whether I'm getting the full surcharge or getting more than I don't even know if they're taking more than 65 or 35%, because Schneider's a 65-35. I don't know if they're taking more than 35%. All I know is my funds have increased based on my average rate per mile and my take-home pay. That's kind of a weird business model. It's a scary proposition to some guys, but my point is I bought my truck cash, no financing. The title has my business's name on it, and that's it. There's no finance involved. He said, I kind of understand what I'm saying, though. Can you do a video cleaning the doser and the 7th injector? Dio, I don't care to do that at all. That already exists. Most of the guys have like a Hispanic accent, but they speak perfect English. But I don't care to do one to show y'all how I do it. You got to be very careful, because if you it's a fuel line. If you twist it wrong and it binds up, now you're sitting there till somebody brings you the part, and they're going to just laugh at you while they're walking away with $500-600. I'm getting better mileage on paper currently than I am on the dash. Didn't used to do that, but I'm still in testing mode. Yeah, I've heard that kind of stuff takes a while. If it's the same product, I've heard it takes a while. So, again, I'm going to read these numbers. The red light is sufficient enough. So, again, for anybody else that's in here that wasn't in here earlier, I left the house Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Excuse me, I started my shift. I didn't leave till 10:30. I picked up in Groveport, Ohio, and immediately came to Winchester, and I've been bouncing around between Ohio, West Virginia, Virginia, and Pennsylvania since. I haven't left those 4 states. Excuse me. Nope, I'm right. Yep, that whole time. Kentucky. That's 5 states. So, it's Monday at 9:30, and my day's done, so it's Monday midnight, effectively. In that amount of days, so that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's 6 days. Okay, that's $7,435.61. Obviously, we're talking about more than $1,000 a day average for the days I've been out. After my fuel, my insurance, my permits, and my IRP through Schneider, I'm taking home, I already said fuel, yeah. Okay, so it's $5,977.59. Got a lot of numbers, guys, in up there. So that's what's going to get deposited in my business bank account. So in order to make that money, I drove 2,533.7 miles to the odometer trip. That's an average rate per mile for all miles of $2.91. Off Schneider's mileage, it was $3.20. But I don't remember if it was from last week or what, I carried some mileage over. That's what it was. I carried some mileage over from last week, because Monday midnight, no matter what, I reset that trip. And I also bobtailed at home because I had to have them finish working on the APU, on PC and whatnot. So anyway, that's $2.91 an average mile for the Odom miles, which is still great. If you want it over 3, great. If you want it over 3, Schneider's numbers were 3, but I did some bobtailing at home. Fuel, I spent $1,319.23. So with all those miles, the amount of money I made, and the amount of money I had to get back to the truck equated to 58 cents per mile. That was my operating cost for the truck, was 58 cents for every mile that this truck turned. So, and this is the interesting thing, I just break it down for guys that are wage slaves, okay? I drove or worked lines 3 and 4 combined in that amount of time for 53 hours. That's $112 an hour for the entire week. If you want to add up all the hours I've been gone since then, that's 130 hours since I left the house. And that puts me at $45.98 per hour for every hour I've been gone. Now, of course, that's decreasing while you're sitting. I also had 28 hours left before I took a reset between Saturday afternoon and all day Sunday. And I didn't even need a reset. The only reason I did that is because I made more rate per mile and more overall money instead of running a cheaper load. So it was in my best interest. Let's see. Thanks, Thor. If you want to see someone that works on trucks, you can learn something from. See how it's going. Francisco Amaya on YouTube. He has some in Mexican and lots in English. Yep, that's probably one of the same guys. They're definitely taking more, which is why they switched to all-in revenue, so you can see what they're taking, but it's business, so it's all good. That's right, Mr. Duncan. Yeah, we can't be scared of that kind of stuff. I mean, if you find something shady and you want to, that's the beauty about the whole thing, is if you think it's a shady business practice, just skedaddle. You know, I mean, you don't have to leave because of bad things. You can leave just because it's time to get out. And that guy's truck is so loud. It is what it is. That probably means he's getting better fuel mileage than me. My truck's trying to breathe through a dirty diaper. That's what having a DPF and DEF system is all about, right? So I've got taco meat and cheese and some low-carb taco shells and taco sauce. I'm probably going to eat a couple of those, and I'm going to put my 24-inch cheap Vizio up on my refrigerator that no longer works. And I'm going to eat and get disgusting. I'm going to show you. I got to show Thor in case Thor never saw it. Hold on. You might see my ass when I stand up because I'm wearing sweatpants like a true truck driver. All right? Yes! Look at that! Yeah! You know what that is? Right there is a game changer. This is called a Lugabaloo. And if you don't know, you better find out. So, it's actually so good that sometimes I choose not to get dressed and go handle business outside the truck. I just got, look, all right, look. So this is what that's for. All right, it's got this little lid. You lean it up against something. You're in good shape. And I'm not. I mean, I know it's funny, but I'm not trying to make it funny. So, got a clean lid here. No exploderia, no backsplash. I got a couple of trash bags, right, in here. Thor's laughing at me. I ain't lying. All right, look. I got a couple trash bags, and I've got me some of that cheap-ass kitty litter. Cheap. And I will seriously, like, the truck's all warm and idling, and hopefully I get my spark heater fixed so that idling word can disappear from my lexicon for a while. But yeah, man, you can sit in here and gut a giraffe. And then when you're done, I got double bag, okay? So if I pull the first bag when I'm tying it, if I see any leakage or anything, I just go ahead and pull both bags. If you're leaking through 2 bags, then your shit's toxic, all right? Well, yeah, you got a 5-gallon bucket with pool noodles. But this, nah, dude, look at this. Look, you got a heavy duty. See that? And if you decide you want to go commando in the bucket and not use bags, you got a little dump handle right there. See that? It is genius, dude. I paid $14 for that. Well, you pay $4 or whatever at Home Depot, and I've seen some guys get a 7-gallon bucket because it's a little bit taller. Dude, and you can buy an Ozark Trail lid and probably save $3 or $4. But you see this? That makes it worth everything. And those guys in Canada, this is a product of Canada. See that? Those guys are going around with the protests. I support them 100%. I don't care what your political persuasion is. Justin Trudeau, I don't care. Hey, look, I ain't got nothing in Canada politics. But if anybody sits there like this with their finger in their mouth and says these guys have fringe views, and then you see all the videos of that, the political pandering crap's got to go, man. So I support truck drivers anyway, because without the truck drivers, he wouldn't have no toilet paper to wipe his ass, or Lugabaloos for guys like me. You see what I'm saying? So anyway, buy a Lugabaloo or make your own, like Thor was talking about. But I don't like pool noodles. I got something against them because my kids like hitting me with them every summer. So I guess I could take a shit on them. That's one way to deal with it, or I could just ignore that they exist. So let me see. I thought I'd get one more like out of Logabaloo, but I don't guess I'm going to. But yeah, that right there keeps me from getting out of the truck. I actually was going to get out and not deal with the Logabaloo. I was going to get out and use the bathroom this morning at a porta-john, of course, because COVID, right? You can't use the bathroom because it's COVID. And it looked like the door had been propped open at some point, and there was salt spray all over the inside of the thing. No thanks. I immediately, it was kind of funny because I always use wet wipes and stuff because, you know, why not? You're out here on the road, you might as well treat yourself to some wet wipes and, you know, Navy showers once in a while if you get in a situation. And I just got back in the truck and I was like, why did I ever get out? So, but yeah, and like, okay, so getting back to business though, Thor's saying, watch your fuel expenses, right? Keep good maintenance. That's an expense you don't want to spare, is maintenance. Keep good maintenance. Keep your tires inflated the right way. That also helps with fuel mileage. You know, watch your fuel. Shop for fuel. Raw Fuel Price Fuel Book is a good app. That's the one that Thor put me onto. Find alternative ways to fuel. Schneider's discount's not that good that week, or you can find it cheaper on Mudflap. Use multiple applications, multiple fuel cards. Use your debit card through Mudflap. Whatever's going to cost you the least amount of money on at the tail end of everything. IFTA is what it is. So shop for raw fuel price. That is, I mean, you got to think you're going to spend, if you run like me, you're going to spend $45,000, $50,000 or more a year in fuel. It's a hell of an expense. Cost me more than my truck did. Than much diesel as you put through the daggone thing. So fuel is a big expense. Other big expenses that you can really cut down on is cooking the truck. Unless you eat so little that it doesn't matter, cook in the truck, make sandwiches, whatever. If you're going to eat on the road, then eat McDonald's. But most of these places you go, you might as well get a ham with a bag of sugar and a ham with a bag of salt, and then they just put food coloring on both of them. It's horrible for you anyway. And I've been eating like that for years, so now I'm trying to not. But whether it's a little cooler or a big fridge, whatever, I've got a Ninja. I don't even use that microwave anymore. It's just in there. It's in here on the off chance I need to use it. I use a lot of spices, staying away from excess salt, using like Miss Dash and stuff like that. You know, there's all kinds of things you can do to trim the fat off the steak, so to speak. So if you come out here and live like you're not making that kind of money, and you are making that kind of money, you're going to have money in the bank, man. I've never seen what $50,000 in the bank looks like before in my life. And the reason I had that is because I didn't look at it like it was my money. I have my payroll every week. I pay myself. Even if you're not on an S-Corp situation, pay yourself X amount. I'm not taking any more than that. Get multiple bank accounts and put X amount in this one a week, that one a week, whatever. Don't come out here and buy freaking Cadillacs and four-wheelers and everything else. If you want to buy one thing for yourself or whatever, that's fine. But you're gonna die as you lived. If you keep blowing your money, you're going to end up with no money. If you want to grow your business has got to become one of those expenses. As simple as that. That's my philosophy, and that's how it's worked. You should definitely be an IC rep for Schneider. Well, pass that to Schneider. The problem is I don't want to be an employee for anybody, so they'd have to pay me a flat rate consultation fee if I did anything. I wouldn't mind doing like some kind of short form for free, just because, I mean, I honestly do like helping people. I know that's a big cliche thing. I'm a driver 17 years. I'm 38 years old. Had a big hole in my life for a long time. I love my wife and my kids. I don't have no regrets on the personal side of things. I'm a musician. I can play guitar and drums and sing and all that stuff. I can draw. I love to bowl. I like to ride bikes. I like shooting. I'm a big gun person, knife person. I like all kinds of stuff. I can talk to you just about anything other than rap. And I don't even hate rap. I like some of it. I just don't know how to make it, and I can't flow like that. You know what I mean? And we all like to make money. I mean, I like toys. I like race cars. And as much as they've taken the stock out of NASCAR, I just like motors, loud. If you could put me behind the wheel of a race car right now, I don't care if I crashed and died, as long as my family's taken care of. I just want one crack at it. That's all I want. A speed freak, deep down. But really, all I got to say about that is I had a big hole in my life, and I didn't know what it was until I finally said, I'm going to stop punching somebody else's clock. I told my wife there wasn't nothing going on, around where I live. The coal mines are dead. Y'all know about West Virginia. The coal mines are dead. They're gone. They've made sure they've run them off. The few that are left, you better know somebody to get in there. And that's what we did in West Virginia's mine coal. Now, I've been lucky my whole life to dodge it, but my parents both worked for DuPont, which became Chemours after the big split. And even with all the years they jointly had there, they couldn't pull me in to a good job. I got the marks on the tests to get in there. I had the resume. I just didn't have the years of experience. And then how are you going to get experience if you can't get a job doing it, right? I couldn't find it. So I couldn't get into one of those chemical plants. I didn't know what else to do. And LTL was what it was where I'm from. There's only a few places. I already worked at one of them, and I had some friends there, but I didn't like it. And then the other one I worked at a different state because I had, I'd lived in Michigan for a while. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But, I just got to the point where it's like you can't rely on anybody else but yourself to make your living. And if you got to go punch a clock here for 20 years and you're happy with that, great. If you got to do it 5 years here, 5 years there, whatever. I told my wife, I said, it's looking increasingly like I'm going to have to go back out on the road. I hadn't been out on the road since 2007. And this was in 2020. And March 2020. And I told her I was starting to look for local jobs that would support just a modest lifestyle that we had. Because I got tired of, everybody's tired of check to check, right? So I was watching that with her from March until August. I said by August 1, if I don't have a job that pays X amount for us so that we can stay here, do our vacation or two every year, have Christmas and not go broke, and we could eat out once a week. Just a normal, modest life, never getting ahead. Remember us, Mike, I don't have a problem with Michigan. I thought I did for a long time. What I got a problem with is your all's family court system. I have an ex-old lady who I share a daughter with, and just because she has a vagine, a vajay, she gets to keep my daughter. I don't know. Some people might agree. Some people might disagree with that situation. I'm not going to get personal. There's no hate in that anymore. I tried to go to court and change her custodial situation. And even though my daughter wanted to try it and I wanted to try it, the court inserted itself as a fourth and final word in the situation because the only person that didn't want it out of us three was her mother, and then the court decided with her. So that's all it takes. Unless she's snorting Quaaludes off a hog or doing something really stupid like beating the shit out of her, it is what it is, my man. Until my daughter gets old enough and just keeps running away or whatever. So I don't want anything bad to happen. I want them to have a good relationship. I do. But at this point, they're going to do what they're going to do. They argue and fight all the time, and my daughter don't keep her story straight with nobody. So, I love them to death. My daughter and my kids in West Virginia. I love my wife, and I try to get along with my daughter's mom. But whatever. Anyway, I went off on a daggone tangent talking to him about Michigan. Thor also said the market crashes every 3 to 4 years, so be prepared. I guess you kind of got to be prepared for anything at any time anymore, man. I've been fortunate, but I'm expecting a breakdown at any time. That's why I've been trying to pad my bank account back up where I bought my truck. That was a risk in itself. I took myself back down below 10K in the bank, and that's not smart. But I also don't have a payment if it does break down where you got the downtime to account for. So as broad as it is wide, if I got to go punch somebody else's clock for a little bit and get my truck fixed and come back out, I don't have a truck payment that's going to continue to cost me money in the meantime. So you can't have your cake and eat it too all the time. But yeah, you got to be prepared for those kind of failures, whether it's the market or your vehicle, or what if you get sick? What if you get the nuclear shits, the Hershey squirts or something for a couple of weeks? That's why I got a luggable, but some guys don't think like that, Matter of fact, if I got sick enough, I'll just pull these 4 bolts out of this seat, cap off the airline, and I'll sit on the luggable and go down the road. As far as you guys coming out here to make money, if you're just a little apprehensive because you don't know what the outcome is going to be, you do know here's the way I finally made that choice. I was like, okay, no good job between March, and August 1. August 1 came, and I just stuck to my word to myself. I made myself be responsible, and I said, all right, I'm filing for my LLC. I did. I called Nathan Green at SFI. I'm not going to go back and edit this and put the numbers in. I'll add the numbers in the description if I don't already have them. And if you all want it, Greg Milam, that's my personal email. gregrollson@gmail.com, and I'll give you whatever info you need to get a hold of anybody or whatever. But I talked to Nate. I gave him $500. I told him I want the truck with the cheapest payment and the shortest term lease available with the most warranty left, and that I preferred a stick shift. Based on my last experience with an automatic, which is if anything goes wrong with the automatic computer, you're roadside. You're hard pressed to break a transmission. I've had clutch brakes wear out where you can't get it in gear unless you turn the truck off, whatever. So you might as well just float down into low gear before you get completely stopped. That kind of stuff, like wearing out clutch brakes and stuff. But if you break a cog, usually you can just pass that position. I've had a transmission failure before too, and it wasn't my normal truck, so no, I didn't do it. I just finished the job. But based on the way I've heard about it now, is the technology is so much better, and the fuel savings with those 2 extra gears in the back is a big deal. I don't have that. I just got the little 10-speed even fuller. But it's trusty. It hasn't broke down, and the money I'm making is still like really good per mile, even after my cost per mile. So as a company driver, if you get 70 cents a mile, you just heard my average rate per mile was $2.91, and I've spent 58 cents a mile, 58 cents a mile in truck costs. So that left me with what? $2.91. That's what, $2.25, $2.30 a mile to me. Sounds a lot better than 70 cents a mile. But anyway, if you're just sitting there wondering, oh my gosh, well, what would happen if it goes bad? What if everything goes sideways? Well, you already know what's going to happen if you don't try it. It's not going to go anywhere, and you're going to have that regret. Or maybe you just want to live vicarious. Hey, I'll be your huckleberry. I'll keep making money and telling you how much I made this week and next week, and how much I did this quarter by being home this many days. That's my next goal. Doing what Thor's doing, or my own numbers, whatever my next step is that I decide to do. It's to make the same money I'm making now and being home 2 or 3 times as much. That's my big one. It's not killing myself to make the same money I'm making. I'm doing $250,000 years in revenue. I bet you I can go home twice as much and do 300 to 350 if the market stays the way it is. Now, I'm going to have Thor and them and CEO, and I'm sure I'm going to pick up other guys that I follow their tutelage to, especially if I lease on to somebody who knows what they're doing, whether it be Jeffrey Like or somebody like that, to teach me how to make money that way. Some people say the more you spend, the more you want to spend. A lot of people say the more you make, the more you want to make. Well, I'm not money hungry in the aspect that I want to have nice, keep up with the Joneses stuff. I want to get mailbox money. I really don't know how else to say it to anybody, and I know it sounds like a cheese way to say it, but I want to be able to leave my couch in my robe, walk down to the mailbox, and get checks. Now, it's figurative speaking, but if I can dispatch guys, liaison to guys, be friendly to guys, have friendships, keep maintenance on trucks, and hire employees, and also lease guys onto a number that I create. And diversify. I'm not just going to stay with Class 8 trucks. It's about doing some medium duty dumps with some power equipment with it, some heavy equipment, skid steers and mini X's and stuff. I'm good at operating equipment. I got friends that can operate equipment. Who knows what you can do with dirt moving? I mean, that's more of a specialty thing. Or environmental work. I did some of that on the pipeline. I know about environmental work, and my mom's boyfriend's son owns CERT around Charlotte, Iron Station, North Carolina. I don't even know that guy, but I know that he's in that kind of work. There's big money in that kind of work, and it's not always easy work. But you can also get you can make money hot shotting. A lot of guys get a couple of trucks and they lease several routes from FedEx running the doubles on that ground. The whole idea with me is I'd like to have my name and no other on the side of the truck eventually. And then if I meet goals and it's just too much of a headache, I don't want to do it no more, I can sell everything off to the right person, or just shut it down when I've hit a bank goal for me to ride out the rest of my life. Or you hire somebody to run it for you and do something else. My wife told me she'd like to have a little like a coffee or Yeah, like a cafe and bakery. You know, just go in there and have your coffee. Akin to what I say douchers would go sit in there and play on their computer and just, this coffee's so good, man. And then flat caps and hacky sacks and the whole nine with that stuff. But she just means like an old lady type bakery and coffee shop. Man, that's awesome. I'll run a little crappy gas station making shitty hot dogs for people out in the country, even if we only serve 10 people a day. You know, if you eat your costs. I just think there's something romantic about that kind of lifestyle, but you're going to have to work your butt off to get there, regardless of what you want to do. And I just wasn't going to get there any other way than working for myself. And if I start a different business off of trucking's back, great. You know. So, Thor, I just got your email. It popped up in my ear here for the radio harness. So, guys, I'm glad I still got 8 people in here, and I've got 11 likes, and that's great. So, you know, like my channel if you're not normally in here, subscribe, blah blah blah. Pass the word on if you think I can help anybody else, or just guys that you think would be entertaining to chat with in a live forum. I've only done a few of these. I tried to start one the other night, and I was like, oh yeah, it's football night. Ever since all of that political crap, I don't even care which direction it goes. I can't watch football. You can't eat a burger without it being Republican or Democrat anymore, and I'm so damn sick of it. I know who I'd rather be in the White House based on fuel costs and whatnot, obviously, but I'm so sick of that stuff. I've tuned it out, man. You know what sports I like? Curling and bowling and nachos. You know, those are my 3 favorite sports. And Lugabaloo is just outside of that group. So anyway, guys, listen, I'm going to double check my comments again because they don't always pop up. I'm lazy. I don't do what I do. He said, play that game. I feel your pain. The system sucks, says Mike. Agreed. And yes, your governor does suck shit. Market crash every 3 to 4 years. I'm making sure I got everybody's question on here. You should be an IC rep. I think I got everybody. If it works, that's all you need. Yeah, that's still Lugabaloo. Yeah, I think I got everybody. So at this point, guys, man, no homo. I love you guys. So keep it upright between the lines, and I wish everybody the best continued success. Follow Thor and Thunder Trucking. He's in here. Pneumatic Brit was in here earlier. Excellent earner on the bulk side. If you're more interested in having a power take off on your truck and doing chemicals and stuff, the truck's SFI will lease you to do that job. I already have that stuff on there. And I've done bulk stuff before too, whether it's bulk pneumatic or wet kits. It didn't matter to me what it was. I've oil filled. I've done all that stuff. And I've hauled chemicals to plants and stuff too. I've also just done gravity feed stuff. It didn't require any PTOs, gas stations. I've hauled everything there is to haul in my day, in my short 17-year career. But also let me know what you think later on in the comments or whatever on this thing, what y'all think about if I got a GoPro and show people how to drive properly, or how to drive and make money like an asshole, or whatever. Or if I was going to do stuff like the 7th injector clean video, it'd be a lot easier to not have to pause the video and then, okay, here's what you do next, and then, oh, okay, and this is the next step, and then just do it while I've got the thing. And I think that might be easier. So but I always say I'm going to do like a half hour to an hour, and here we are, an hour and 44 minutes. My CB handle's long wind anyway, but I don't ever tell anybody what it is, so now you know. But if you're hollering, I usually don't. I just turn it down unless I need to use it. But keep it upright between the lines. God bless everybody. Follow Thor Thunder Trucking, Pneumatic Brit, Big Rig CEO. And if you got a video request or other questions I didn't cover here, I'm tired of being on here. I'm pretty sure you're all tired of looking at this face. So shoot them in an email at gregrollson@gmail.com or comment on here later, and I'll talk to you guys. I'll do another live in about a week or so, unless there's some kind of bad family event. But keep your prayers up for Sydney Stanley, my father-in-law, and my family, and my grandma's fall, all that. It's just when it rains, it pours on the personal side of things. But it makes me happy if I can help and provide information or motivate people to do well in their life. So achieve your potential. You got plenty of guys out here who want to see you succeed, and there's still good left in the world, guys, even if it is on YouTube. So upright between the lines, as I always say. God bless you.